Now you're on air. I, I hope it's working. Otherwise, we'll have to do it again or something else. Okay, so Crina, it's really nice to have you here on this interview again. Thank you for coming.
And thank you too for this invitation.
So can you first start by briefly introducing yourself to our lovely audience?
Okay, so my name is Crina Teodor. I'm from Romania, from Iași, and I had my experience in India 2 years ago, between July and August 2014.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me why exactly did you decide to come here? India, this city, this company?
Yeah, actually, I knew I wanted a country from Asia, from southeast of Asia, somewhere around there, because I wanted to have that culture shock, to have a completely different experience from my country. And I don't know, one day I just decided, okay, India is my choice, and I didn't have good reasons back then because I was not into, watching Bollywood movies and listening to music or something like that. I just wanted to get to know this country, to experience it, and I had absolutely no expectations when I came. I just knew I was going to discover it on the way.
Mm-hmm. So, but still, I guess you had some image of India because it's quite a popular country and it has a lot of stereotypes, both positives and negatives. So what was the difference between the India you expected to see from what you knew and the India that you actually saw?
Yeah, actually, I had, as I I said before, very little knowledge about India. My stereotypical view was those of women wearing colorful saris and elephants going on the streets and monkeys everywhere, and I don't know, the kind of images you see in documentaries, but it turned out that I didn't expect to see the modern part of India. Like, I was really surprised to see that the modern Indian society really resembles the society in my country, and people have common, I don't know, passions. They like to do common things I like to do in my country. So basically, this this new viewpoint made me feel even more attached to the Indian culture because I was like, oh my God, what kind of I don't know, stereotypes I was having in my head.
Mhm.
I was having that image of India some decades ago.
I see. So you were positively surprised.
Yes, absolutely.
I see. So tell me, were you searching exactly for the opportunity in educational company and like how and why did your choice came to Wisman build a class project?
Yes, from the beginning, I knew that I wanted to do something to impact the society. And of course, education is one of the most important matters in every country. And I knew I wanted to do something more than just teaching, for example. Why I chose this project, which involved to um, do a social economic survey and to work both with the children and with women, traveling in the countryside, in villages, and actually get to know how they live and do this survey right there in these people's environment. And I think these were the main reasons. I mean, it really mattered to me the fact that I worked for an NGO, for an organization that had an impact, and that I I could actually experience the culture.
I see. So as I understand, you were mostly engaged into doing this survey within the project. So, right?
Yes, exactly. So basically, what I did was to realize all the materials, the survey, the methodology of the survey, work with my colleagues from builder class, and also to meet some local decision makers who could further invest in finding, I don't know, implementing some solutions for the problems that I could signal through this survey. And then another part, and maybe the most interesting part of my internship, was when I used to travel around villages nearby Dambad um, with with other employees from Builder class, and that I got to interact with those women. I saw their living conditions. Many of them were very eager to know me. Of course, there was this language barrier, but they were welcoming us in their houses, and they were trying even to speak to me. I felt so bad that I couldn't understand Hindi.
So tell me, when you first entered those fields and villages, what were your expressions apart from the language barrier shock? Like, did you expect what you saw?
Well, actually, um, I could say that living in a village in India, I think it's very, very simple. There's no much technology there, almost not at all. And but people are very, very kind. And as I said, they wanted to know me. I remember that once a woman even wanted to invite me at her home and um, teach me how to wear a sari. And then that they were asking where I am from, why I came there, and they were very responsive. I mean, when my colleagues used to call them, usually in the public area of the village, I mean, in the center of the village, and all of them, I don't know, around 50 or more women used to come around us and tell each one of them respond to our questions. Um, Maybe this was the only shock I had, that I couldn't communicate with them. I was also disappointed at that time.
So when you're saying at that time, does it mean that then you figured out the way to communicate with them in some manner?
No, unfortunately not. I mean, I could communicate basically through, I don't know, hands or gestures, but actually, when you smile to someone, it's the best way to communicate, and you transmit 1,000 words.
Definitely, definitely. So what would you say about the project and the team working for that? You've been working with the guys for 1.5 months. What are your observations?
Yes, this was another challenge I faced, because at the beginning I didn't know where to gather the information. I had to find some I don't know, some evidence if such a survey has been done before, or what was the population of certain areas, of certain villages, and so on. I didn't know where to find that information. I didn't know how I was going to conduct this survey, because obviously I couldn't have gone there by myself in so many villages and not knowing the language. So when I first communicated with the other people working for Build a Class, um, I I don't know. I didn't know how to put it, how to talk to them, but gradually we became friends, and they were really, really friendly to me and really helpful. they were we in the end we worked like a team. Like they were helping me whatever I needed, and I basically depended on their help regarding, not only to do the survey but to have some mm, insights, yeah, about what I was actually studying.
I see. So you build a kind of bonds of trust with those people in the team.
Yes, yes, and considering that I know the age gap was quite big, I was the youngest there, and that was quite wow. That was amazing to me that I managed to work with them, and we worked together, and in the end it didn't matter that they had full-time jobs, they had work experience. I had nothing. I had just volunteering experience, and I was 21 years old.
Then, what was your, highest and happiest peak point over there? Was it then something correlated to working with these people, or maybe something else?
Mhm. Mm, I would say there were more highest points, of this experience. First was when I was starting to see the results of what I was doing when I was receiving the surveys, and then when I was finally going to the villages after all that work, because this happened quite after some weeks, and then when I was actually seeing that, okay, I was understanding a reality I only knew from reading on the internet. And then another big moment was actually after I left, because I was in Romania. There was an event, a business event they organized along with Isaac, and the survey was presented there. I mean, the results of the survey, and all the important companies and people from Dambad were present there, and I still have the movie on my phone, which I received, and I actually had a movie in which I was talking about the my work there, and that was really rewarding. I mean, I wish I was there.
Oh, that's nice. If you could send this movie, I can include this into the parts of this interview also to showcase it.
Yes.
So, how do you think, after all, what was exactly the impact, maybe like you personally or the whole team together, the project did in that part?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, how do you think, what exactly was the impact that the project and you personally in the project did?
Yeah. So I believe the purpose of this project was basically to raise awareness, to have some clear data. I mean, we discovered that, I don't know, the literacy rate among women of a certain um, age was, I don't know, was under 10%, for example. And that was really really helpful, when the other class would go further, and actually when they went to search for new partners, or to raise awareness in the community, because they had something um, which was clear. It was not just, okay, I have the impression that women are illiterate because I met a woman. No, that survey stated clearly. We we met thousands of women, and these are the results. And see, these are the possible solutions we could implement from now on. And it was clear that education, in no matter what age we are talking about, education is what needed to be the focus.
I see. That's really interesting to hear. So, let's imagine this kind of case. Imagine you're standing again in the middle of one of those villages, and there are people around you living there, and this time they can understand you, like, magically they have learned English or something. What would be something that you would say to them? Maybe a piece of advice, maybe something you would ask. What can it be?
Um, would not be an advice. It would not be a question. It would um, be actually the fact that I would like to transmit a message that they should be aware of the importance of education, the power of education, because when you educate um, a child, you basically educate the further generations, because that child is going to be an adult and is going to have children. And when a child is coming from a family with no education, obviously he doesn't have many chances. And not only talking about opportunities, obviously an educated mother is more aware of how to take care of her children than an illiterate mother. And in the end, all these things affect the society itself, because imagine what would happen if, I don't know, let's say even 50% of the women in a village would be literate, would just know how to read and write and do basic mathematics, and that's it. And this is the great thing about what Build the Class does, that they actually help them understand this and learn these things.
So, this question of why the people in the rural areas in countries like India are still illiterate and don't get education is still a matter of debates and argument, and it's not at all clear. So you've been here, and I'm asking you not on the expert opinion, but moreover as a observer opinion. What do you feel and think is the reason why the problem remains, and why such a huge percentage of the people there remains illiterate and not educated?
Well, considering what I observed when I was there, I would say that the involvement of the local authorities is vital, because there are some key persons in a community who can actually impact the whole community. These are the people either who have a position, I know, in the local administration or in the educational system, or people who are educated and who have a certain respect from the villagers. And if they would say, I don't know, that this is a problem, we need to work together to solve it, maybe people would do that. This is what I felt in those communities. And also the involvement of these initiatives, the involvement of people in such initiatives, like the ones Build a Class is doing, it's also very, very important. But they need to be even more initiatives. There need to be even this support from the local authorities. And why not to try to educate the entire population there, not only certain ranges of population.
That's quite a big ambition, which obviously can be can get done with a proper amount of effort. So now, as you returned back from your internship back home, how can you use that you are actually using your experience? What did it change in your life, and what did it bring to you?
I believe that what changed in my life after I came back was that I became more um, adaptable. Yeah, that's the one of the biggest changes, because right now, if you're telling me, okay, now you're working here, tomorrow you're going to work there, and there was a change in the, I don't know, strategy, and we decided to do this and not to do that. Basically, I know right now that I can adapt in any situation, and that the most important thing is to consider not to follow some rules or I don't know, some predefined um, statement or what we thought was right, but actually to try to find solutions on the way. And here comes the second change I observed in myself, is that I became more solution oriented, and I got to focus, okay, if we have a problem and we don't know how to solve it, let's see what the solutions are and not try to analyze what is going wrong and who is to blame for this. This doesn't matter. And the third thing would be that, basically, there's not much of a difference, because if I'm thinking about these global issues, okay, like education, which is present in my country as well. If I would go in a village in Romania, there would be also maybe a similar situation. Maybe also there would be people who encourage their children to not go to school anymore, or children who actually quit school because they choose to earn money. And if we understand these issues at the global level, we can solve them, I don't know, better.
That's nice way to put it. So, why would you suggest, if you would, to
Mhm.
potentially another interns to come to build a class to work for this project?
Well, I would encourage anyone to come to this project, to get involved in a similar project, build a class, because um, trust me, it would really change them, and it would really help them get first on first hand global perspective, and then it would help them see, I don't know, see the most beautiful parts of the Indian culture, because we got to admit, um, as you are traveling to India, it's undoubtedly you are going to be impacted by this wonderful culture they have, and maybe they are going to face their biggest challenges of their lives so far, and they are going to adapt continuously. Every day you need to adapt to something new. Actually, you are discovering something new every day. No matter that we are talking about a way of working, that certain customs, or I don't know, exotic animal or plant or fruit on the street. Yeah, so I would definitely encourage anyone to just go there, have no expectation, and live that experience to the fullest, because you never know what's going to come next.
Greatly said. So maybe if there is something else, a story or a thought or an idea that you would like to share with the audience, feel free to do it.
Well, I don't think there is something else. I would actually say that the other experiences should should be listened, and I'm looking forward to hearing them after months or after years, to hear about other interns who came there and it changed their lives.
Definitely, you would get a chance to do it. At least for the next week, we will be publishing the interviews with you and all the other interns. We have about 6 of them contacted. So follow the group and keep watching for the updates. And just as a maybe a little bit crazy idea that just got to my mind to conclude it, do you remember some Hindi words?
Hmm. Few words, let's say.
Like
uh,
any sentence or words or whatever?
yeah. I I remember the first Hindi expression I learned, and it was "मैं नाश्ता दीजिए," which means we are hungry, and that was because we couldn't communicate to the people from restaurants, and actually we were unable in first days to ask for something to eat, and then someone taught us this phrase. It's very funny to remember it, and yeah, I remember we used to um, shout it to the rickshaw drivers. This phrase sounds like "chalong," which means go ahead or go faster or something like that.
So
Yeah,
that's
this
the
is my
most
first
crucial
Hindi.
survival phrases.
Yeah,
I see. Well, thank you so much, Crina, for this interview. I'm more than sure that our audience will be super interested to watch it. So yeah, keep watching for the updates in the group next week. And always feel free to write to us or send a video message or whatever. I hope that this experience was valuable for you, and I wish you a good rest of the day. I guess it's already evening there. And wish you
thank
all the
you.
best with your current work.
Thank you and congratulations for this initiative. It was really nice to remember about my experience after such a long time and to see that it actually mattered.
Well, there should be someone who reminds you about it. Yeah. Thank you very much again. And then with this, our dear audience, we are closing this chat. Keep watching for the updates in the group, and we'll be putting more interesting materials, more interviews with our interns who has been in Build a Class project previously. So keep in touch and like this video and follow us. Thank you so much. Bye, Crina.
Bye.